In less than 10 minutes, 175 heartbeats were permanently silenced by 3 tons of high explosive steel. It took only 600 seconds to transform a vibrant center of learning into a mass grave of concrete and rebar. This was not the result of a natural disaster, but the consequence of a targeting error, a clinical term for the moment. Children were erased from the census. To put that in perspective, imagine every single child in a modern apartment complex or 5 full city buses vanishing in the time it takes to brew a pot of coffee. Before the clocks struck 10:23 a.m. on February 28, 2026, the number of casualties at the Shajareh Tayyebeh Girls' School in Minab was 0. The air in southern Iran was thick with the scent of nearby citrus groves, not cordite. Inside the 2-story building, the morning session was in full swing. Precisely 264 students were present, their desks cluttered with open notebooks and pencil cases. At that moment, the school was a sanctuary of routine. It had been a civilian landmark for over a decade, its walls painted with colorful murals that were clearly visible to any satellite passing overhead. The transition from peace to catastrophe began with a 1, a single digit in a database. A decade-old intelligence file still labeled the school as part of the adjacent Revolutionary Guard Naval Base. When the first Tomahawk cruise missile tore through the roof at 10:23 a.m., it wasn't a random stray. It was a guided weapon, performing exactly as programmed. The mathematics of the disaster then began to snowball. Following the first impact, the school principal gathered dozens of terrified girls into a central prayer room, believing the thick interior walls offered safety. She began dialing parents, and for a few minutes, the casualty count was low. But the logic of modern warfare often dictates a triple tap. 2 more missiles, each carrying a 1,000-pound warhead, followed in rapid succession. The prayer room, filled with children waiting for their parents, became the epicenter. By 10:33 a.m., the snowball had reached its climax. 175 dead, 95 injured, and half of the structure reduced to a pile of gray dust. Among those 175 units of data was a 7-year-old girl whose name is now etched into a memorial collage of 119 children. When the first explosion shook the earth, she didn't run for the gates. She stayed by her teacher, holding a drawing of a son she had finished only minutes prior. When the rescuers finally reached the prayer room days later, they didn't just find a statistic. They found a small, red plastic slide from the playground, twisted and melted, resting next to a jumble of child-sized chairs. Of the 175 victims, 26 were teachers who died trying to shield their students, and 4 were parents who had arrived just in time to be caught in the final strike. Today, the number 175 still exists. It appears in reports, in archives, in headlines that slowly fade. But numbers do something dangerous over time. They shrink in feeling, even when they never shrink in size. 175 becomes just a figure, a statistic. Yet in reality, it is a silence large enough to fill an entire school building. And the question remains, if 10 minutes can erase 175 futures, how many moments like this have already passed unnoticed? Behind every number, there is a name that was never recorded. And behind every statistic, there is a silence we rarely stop to hear.